the internet democratized beauty, but now we all are kind of treating ourselves as these project managers of our faces and our bodies.
Hello, hello. I'm Brittany Luce, and you're listening to It's Been a Minute from NPR, a show about what's going on in culture and why it doesn't happen by accident. Brooke, welcome to It's Been a Minute.
Thank you so much for having me, Brittany. I am so excited to be on. Longtime listener, longtime fan. And I always credit you with two things. One, you were a very early champion of naked beauty way back in 2016, 2017, early days. You gave me great feedback. And you put me on to Alicia, my favorite hairstylist in New York. So forever, thank you for that.
The best. You're welcome. Literally. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Alicia Luciano at The Way Salon.
At The Way in Soho.
In New York City. You have been hosting the Naked Beauty podcast for
10 years.
A decade plus.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you are a literal beauty expert, and you're not just somebody who I think people go to for product recommendations, or you kind of shook social media with the braid sew-in combo.
Yes.
You're always coming up with new things, I think, to try and do. But also you have a really great, I think, mind for thinking about beauty, and how it actually affects us materially, how it makes us feel.
Yes.
Things have shifted a lot in the past 10 years that you've been hosting the Naked Beauty podcast. The height of beauty expectations were the 12-step skincare routine,
right,
and contouring. What are some of the biggest changes in expectations around beauty that you have seen in the past decade?
You're absolutely right. It has changed so dramatically. And looking back at what we were talking about in 2016, it all feels very quaint and cute compared to the full stack protocol that people want to, de-accelerate aging. So when I first started in 2016, I really think beauty was about expression. And now increasingly it's about optimization. So people have kind of moved from how do I want to be? How do I want to express myself to how do I fix myself? How do I optimize? How do I Looksmax? I think the algorithm is a big part of that. In 2016, TikTok did not exist, right? So I think beauty conversations were much more seasonal. Now they're very algorithmic, right? So you get these trends of shedding and mouth taping and, wrapping your entire body at night, essentially. So the things that you're seeing in terms of beauty trends and beauty standards are often dictated by what has the highest engagement. The internet democratized beauty, but now we all are kind of treating ourselves as these project managers of our faces and our bodies.
Project managers of our faces and our bodies. That feels so accurate. Every feature is an opportunity to get 1% better every single day, as opposed to I don't know, you remember the wavy eyebrow trend of 2017, 2018,
oh gosh,
somewhere
yes.
in there. Yes, it wasn't for me, but I mean there was somebody out there who wanted to wave their eyebrows because they had something to say. And I thought that was beautiful.
Yes. And I've noticed the questions that I get from my audience change over the years. It used to be what's your favorite moisturizer? Now it's what system are you using for aging? Are you doing peptides? Are you doing preventative Botox? People have become much more extreme in their pursuit of perfection. And now it seems like a simple cream doesn't cut it anymore. But I also have to acknowledge that in the past 10 years, I've aged 10 years. So, what I was paying attention to at 26 and what my audience, as they've grown with me, was paying attention to at 26 versus now 36 is also different.
No, that's very real. I mean, I struggle so much with sort of how much to invest in emotionally in beauty and all of those things, and
divest
as the nature
divest.
Yes. and as the nature of my work is changing, it's I'm am I on the verge of a nervous breakdown about being perceived regularly now, much more visually than I ever was, possibly. But it's I'm always trying to negotiate. I'm 38, I'll be 39 at the end of this year. And I'm at 50, will I want someone to do, like I said, put their foot on the back of my head and yank everything forward and staple it up? Is that something I'm going to want in 10 years? Maybe so.
Maybe.
And yeah. And I felt values wise for me in the past, that would be way too, that would be that. I'm never going to do something like that. Now
right.
If I had
Yes.
the money, maybe so. I don't know. I can't really say.
And it's easy when you are young and there's nothing that you would want to change about yourself to say, like, oh, I'm very against plastic surgery. And plastic surgery has become this like binary where it's like, it's either anti feminist and you're like, feeding into the patriarchy, or it's not black and white. And I think it's a very personal decision. And I'm excited to get into plastic surgery as our conversation progresses. But
Yes, we'll get there.
as we get older, our opinions and relationship to the beauty conversation changes.
Like, these things have become more normalized a lot in the past decade. How has that changed your work?
Yeah, so I certainly ask women more about what they're doing for their overall skincare routine. It used to be just like, take me through your morning skincare and your nighttime skincare routine. And now it's like, what laser facials are you getting? What are you injecting into your face and how are you injecting it? I did an episode where I got PRFM and I actually like brought my little tiny microphone into the room with me and I had the doctor explain, okay, now we're taking out my blood. We're putting it in this...
please explain
Yes.
what PRFM
RFM.
Please.
Yes. Or sometimes PRF. But PRFM is basically the kind of next forefront of facial fillers where they're not just injecting like hyaluronic acid into your skin, but they're actually injecting your own cells, like your own DNA. So they take out blood and then they put it in this like centrifuge. They spin it and it becomes what they call
Right.
liquid gold. And then they re-inject it back into your face. So
What does
I
it
did
do?
it. So it basically stimulates collagen production. So I did it kind of under my eyes and like around my smile lines. Now they say that you have to do it 3 times for it to be effective. And I only did it twice. I did notice like a slight difference, but the reason why people prefer it to filler is now research has shown that filler never really goes away. Like they'll do these kind of like X-ray scans and they'll show that filler is still very much
In your
present in the
body.
face. Yes. And it can create like a heaviness over time. And a lot of people just don't like it because it's like you are injecting a foreign substance into your face.
But I guess if you're injecting your own cells or own blood into your face, it's not foreign.
It's not foreign. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. When I interviewed Miss Tina Knowles, who looks absolutely incredible, she was like, I swear by PRF. Like that is the treatment that I just do consistently. And she looks great. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I guess if it's good enough for Tina Knowles, then like it's got to be the best. Honestly,
Right.
It's gotta
Exactly.
Be the best.
Exactly.
It sounds like you now have a lot more to keep track of and metabolize as your audience is more and more curious about all of these different things. It's a lot to keep up with.
It's a lot to keep up with, but what I love about the people that come on the show and talk about it is the transparency. Like, I think the sin is, it's like we're all expected to be effortlessly beautiful, but we are supposed to conceal our efforts. You are not meant to be seen publicly like trying to look good. And that's why I think a lot of people don't talk about the things that they do. But I'm always so grateful to people that are willing to go there and talk about the procedures, the little tweaks that they're doing to feel like their best self.
I mean, the thing I will say is that like I love hearing about it because it makes me feel like, okay, well, this is not something that's naturally occurring. There's a lot of effort that's going into this. There's a lot of money that's going into this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We've discussed Looksmaxing on this show before, and those of you who may have missed any of those episodes aren't familiar with it. Looksmaxing is the practice of doing basically anything in your power, everything in your power, from getting a haircut to using unregulated injectables to achieve a very specific definition of peak physical attractiveness. But when I first heard about it, I really want to know your thoughts on this. When I first heard about Looksmaxing, I almost like yawned. Like I was like yawn. But also a lot of the things that Looksmaxers more broadly are doing have been beauty expectations for women,
Right.
especially Black women, for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, so Black women didn't invent Looksmaxing, but we've been living under its expectations for generations, right? Like we are, we've always treated beauty as both self-expression and social armor, professional armor. I always think of like Looksmaxing and respectability politics as almost like cousins, like I think for Black women at a very early age, we are taught that beauty is one of these things that can change how safely we're able to move through the world, how safely we're able to move through professional spaces, how we are perceived. And for Black women, I think it's beyond a pressure to be beautiful. I think we're meant to be impeccable. And I think we see this all the time. Like, Black women in public spaces are meant to show up impeccably. And that's why I always say looksmaxing is like almost like this cousin of respectability politics. I think what's new to the conversation, what I find fascinating, is that now men are being dragged through
Yes.
unreal expectations. And it's interesting
Yes.
because I have a son and a daughter, and I think I've always just kind of thought like, okay, I have to shield my daughter from the internet teaching her that she has to look a certain way to be seen as like beautiful or worthy. But now I'm thinking about my son too, and he's only 5 years old now. But seeing these men talk about ascending. Did you guys talk about the language that they use in the looksmaxing community?
We talked a little bit about the language, but please share, please.
This idea that like you have reached this sort of perfection and no barriers will be put in your way because you look good. That's really
like you'll have a
dangerous.
frictionless life. You'll have ascended to a higher plane.
You'll have ascended to a higher plane. And I think, I hope it gives young men more empathy for the unfair beauty standards that like women have had this pressure to perform for generations. But then the other part of me thinks, are we dismantling these standards, or are we just expanding them to now include men? Like, I don't think liberation for women means that we're all equally trapped. I think we should all be a little bit freer. You know, like I want both men and women to be free of the beauty standards. Because I've heard people say like the opposite, like, well, good, now they know what it feels like. And it's like, well, no, I want us all to be more free from these unrealistic beauty standards.
You know, whether it is because of like front facing cameras or 4K or everything becoming video, everything's a show now. We all feel like we must hold ourselves to higher and higher standards for what is even just like a baseline acceptable. I wonder, like, as looksmaxing has gone mainstream, like, how do you think that has or will affect beauty expectations for Black women?
I think that they're just going to continue to rise and become even more unrealistic, unfortunately. I mean, and I think, again, I think Black women have always lived under extreme pressure to conform to the beauty ideal in a way that truly no other race has. You know, the famous debate about like Black women don't have an equivalent of a messy bun. Like we don't have the equivalent of, you know, just like coming out of the shower and twisting our hair up in a scrunchie and running out the door. Like it's not an option for us.
No.
And I think that as you see, you know, more and more like wigs sold on TikTok Shop and more, it's like
I'm always thirsting over the wigs on TikTok Shop.
Let me save you some coins, everyone listening, and you, Brittany. I ordered one. It was the most horrific.
No.
Yes, and I was like,
it didn't shake. It didn't go.
It didn't shake. It didn't go. And people were like, you just got to play with it. I was like, this is unacceptable. But I think that with the rise of GLP-1s, there's kind of this. I think this new, it's very sinister, and we have to like kind of work to actively dismantle it, where it's like there's no excuse to not look great, right? Like you have every tool available. You can get AI to give you an optimized glow up plan. So like if you don't look perfect, like what is your excuse? And that's the dangerous territory that we're kind of going towards.
I want to talk more about that. I mean, like, as punishing as a lot of these expectations may sound, like there is a societal imperative to keep them up. Like when women, especially Black women, don't look a certain way, we are often policed by others. Like, for example, on the most recent season of Love Island USA, which I'm always watching.
Always watching. Oh, I'm
always watching.
I'm so excited to talk about Love Island. Please, let's get into it.
I remember with Love Island where people were talking about Olandria's under eye concealer being too bright, or talking
God
about,
forbid a girl gets a tan in Fiji, being outdoors.
God forbid a girl gets a tan in Fiji. Exactly.
For how many weeks?
Exactly. Or the braids and all these things. Like, it's like, yes, you're there for like 8 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever. And yeah, your makeup may not match exactly the same as when you're leaving. But like this season, I mean, they're like talking about, I mean, there's a girl there with like a short cut. They talked about her hair. There are girls there who have on different kinds of wigs. They're talking about their hair. It's like, it never ends. They like, I mean, honestly, this season, the young women had their hair judged so harshly by some of the viewers on social media that it was brought up. Like, this was brought up on an episode of After Sun, which is like the official Love Island like after show they air every weekend. Why do we police each other in this way? In the broader sense, and also within our community, why do we police each other in this way, even when we hate to be on the receiving end of it?
I think part of it, again, the internet, like, I think it's made everyone feel entitled to audit Black women's faces, bodies, hair.
Yeah.
I also think that Black women get judged for doing too much, but then you will be judged if you don't do enough. So it's like,
yes,
you really can't win. And the margin for error is incredibly small. I think the hair conversation is interesting because I think that the hair conversation, the like policing of Black women's hair, I see it much more from other Black women, because I think outside of our culture, like, they don't know what's going on. But like, if you're in a Black space, it's like, no, you really got to come correct, because like we actually do know. I think that with Love Island, it is very interesting. You're right. Like, Black women are the stars. People have all of these opinions about like how their hair should look. And we, I think, as Black women, I'm speaking for the Black women's community, I think we need to be very careful about having these conversations in public spaces like the internet, because then I worry that it then makes other non-Black people also feel entitled to comment on Black women's hair and their features. So it's like, keep it to the group chats. You know, if you feel a way about someone's hair, you know, maybe text with your friends. But I don't know that we need to like publicly do these deep dive dissections on I
think that sometimes that sort of policing comes from I think almost like a fear that like, oh, if I don't tell you, then no one's going to tell you, and you're going to be walking around looking like Who Shot John, and then everybody, you know, everyone's like, I'm doing this because I care. I don't know always how true that is, especially not in the sense of like these young people who are on reality TV. I'm like, let's leave them alone. But I think that that is a lot of times where that impulse comes from, as messed up I think as the result often is.
You are so right. You are so right. And even to bring it back to the Black women on reality TV, the reason why there is such a like heightened awareness of the way that they are showing up is because we have such little representation, right? If Black women were in mainstream media and TV all the time and it was just a common thing, we wouldn't have this like fervor around like focusing on these very few women that are in the public spotlight. So it's like Black women become these symbols of, you know, class, race, identity, like morality. Like, they become more, they can't, Black women just can't just exist and be themselves on television. They become these symbols for so much more. And they have to carry that weight, which is a lot.
I want to wade into the plastic surgery or the cosmetic procedures of it all, let's say. I mean, there's also, I think, a kind of like a wishful ignorance with regard to super famous Black women celebrities. Whether it be Beyonce, Rihanna, Sierra, whoever, you know, or like the list could go on and on and on and on and on. And you could include like white women celebrities in this number too. Like, what I'm about to say applies to a lot of women who are in the public eye. But there is often like this, like, people do not want to believe or even consider the possibility that these women who appear so perfect, so ageless, or even some of them who look a little bit different than they used to, like demonstrably different than they did in the past. A lot of fans don't want to believe that their fave might have changed something about their appearance. Stans will fight in comment sections. It's almost like fans or the public consider getting work done a moral failing. Like, even though these very famous women are dealing with, and also sometimes often profiting from, or need to make their money from, impossibly high beauty standards. What do you make of that?
So I have changed my perspective on plastic surgery.
What was it before and what is it now?
Before, I saw it as inherently oppressive and inherently contributing to pretty much the fact that women are not allowed to age publicly, right? Like, it was sort of like, so if we just normalize plastic surgery as just this thing that we do, we are contributing to this false idea that aging is essentially the worst thing that can happen to a woman publicly. I think as I have grown to appreciate the artistry involved in plastic surgery, I just did a great interview with Dr. Truesdale. He is a Beverly Hills plastic surgeon, black plastic surgeon. He does a lot of your favorite celebs, men and women. Um, you know, talking to him was very eye-opening, and just understanding truly the art that goes into facial balancing and creating harmony. And when you're talking about a deep plane facelift, it is like they're peeling back a layer of skin, they're getting to the muscle structure, and they're just like kind of moving everything up a few millimeters. You're kind of, it's not about looking different, you're looking at like a version of yourself like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years
So
ago.
it's not like a totally different, I mean, it sounds like the ideal result is not a totally different you, but like a refreshed you.
A refreshed you. It's a refreshed you. And hearing him talk about treating patients that have gone through like back-to-back grief, where they've like lost family members, people that have gone through divorces or have gotten out of, domestic violence situations. And they're like, when I look in the mirror, what I see does not reflect how I feel inside. I want to look how I used to look, not different. And just really understanding the reasons that like drive people to plastic surgery and the artistry that's involved in it, but also the economic realities that shape these decisions for women in Hollywood is really impossible to overlook. It's how they move through the world professionally. It can determine their like how they're going to be cast for roles, if they're going to book that cover, if they're going to book that beauty campaign. And I think that like, to like ignore that does women a disservice, because again, it's not just vanity. Like there are real like economic benefits to getting plastic surgery for these women in Hollywood. So that, just bearing those two things in mind, has really kind of changed my perception, where I'm no longer judgmental about it at all. I'm like, I get it.
I can't say that I think of myself as judgmental about it. I think that it is hard for me to not think about it as something, because the pressure is so uniquely harsh upon women. It's hard for me to not think about it as like a part of like an oppressive sort of power structure. And I don't actually have like a poor relationship with aging. It's something that I feel very fortunate and
absolutely
joyful about.
Yes, me too.
My father always says, when you consider the alternative, getting older is really good.
Your dad is so right.
He's so right. So yeah, I feel fortunate too that I have so many beautiful women in my life who are in their 60s, 70s, going on 80s, who are beautiful and vibrant and joyful about aging. On one hand, I was thinking as you were talking, I was like, well, there's something very tricky about all of these expectations kind of filtering down to the everyday person, the everyday woman.
Yes.
But also, now the expectation of being beautiful for work or to engage with others through social media, like I said, for fun, for pleasure, whatever, that pressure is also increasingly there for an everyday woman, which is what I consider myself. And that also, like, I don't know, both of those twin things are sort of there. Like, I don't know if I feel any one way about it. But it is
you also,
but
though,
when you talk about the
Brittany,
economic, what's that?
well, I was just going to say, you also, one, you're beautiful. There's like literally nothing to change. But you also have like one of these baby faces where like, I'm sure you still get carded. Like it's giving 25. Sometimes, you know, and it's so funny. People that have baby faces, like when they're young, they're like, oh, like I want to like, and I'm like, no, trust me. Like as you get older, like this is your blessing. Like I see young people getting like buccal fat removal, you know, when they like make the hollows.
Yeah, the girls were taking it out a few years
like,
ago, and now
you're
they're
gonna
like,
need
oh,
that
no.
fat. You're gonna need that fat. So yeah, I think because you like just look incredibly youthful and you are, you know, beautiful, your experience of your thoughts about plastic surgery are going to be different. And that's also like a privilege that I have learned. Like when you have pretty privilege like you have, it is easier to be like, oh, I would never, like I wouldn't do this, right? But it's, you know, so I think that's like something to be mindful of. But I also think, I think about this all the time. sometimes you have to really sit down and ask yourself, why do I want this procedure? Are you investing in your skincare routine, your workout routine? Are you going to the tailor and getting your clothes tailored? Are you maybe taking like a makeup class and brushing up on your contouring skills? Like, we have so many tools
There's
in
steps.
Yes, and I think like we have so many
before
tools.
something that drastic. Yeah.
Yes, there's so many steps to take, and we have so many tools in our toolbox to look our best and feel our best. And what's dangerous is like jumping straight to like the most extreme kind of plastic surgery thing. And the thing that also kind of gives me comfort is I always think about the people that I find like really beautiful, like very like alluring, like the people that I'm drawn to in a room. It's not the person that's wrinkle free and has like the perfectly balanced face. It's like the person that's got a little bit of like style and swag and something like different to them. It's never the person with like the perfect, you know, bone structure. It's someone that's kind of expressing who they are outwardly, and that's empowered me to think more about like my personal style and trying like a funkier haircut or, you know, doing a purple lipstick. Like, those are the things that I find to be alluring and attractive, not necessarily looking perfect.
Looks can't be everything. They shouldn't be everything. We've discussed, I mean, there's so many ways in which focusing too much on your looks can be anxiety inducing. It can be bad for your health or worse. But also there's so much about beauty culture that I find fun. And even pleasurable. Like, I love getting my hair cut. I love going to see Alicia getting my hair cut. I love it. It makes me so happy. I mean, she's the best. And I love like catching up with her and gossiping and just like, you know, like listening to music and being in that shop. I love moisturizing my face at night. Yes. I love it. And like right before I get in the bed and look at TikToks with my husband about Love Island and then like discuss all of the different cast members. I love it.
Peak life. Yes.
Peak life. But I wonder, like, how do we find the balance between wanting to look and feel our best without deriving our self-worth from how smooth our complexion is or how long our lashes are?
Yes. I mean, I think it's thinking about beauty as like this adornment, like it's additive rather than an assignment that you must adhere to. I am famous for dreading getting my nails done. Like, it just feels like it's like, oh, like I've got to go get my nails done. Like, some people I think really like it and like they love it. Like, they're like, oh, I'm excited to get my nails. I'm like, it feels like a chore. But leaning into the things that do feel like ritual and do feel like pleasure. Like, I do a full body exfoliation in the shower. Then I come out, I put on like my body oils. I'm really into fragrance. The things that have like these sensory benefits and feel, like additive to like my own well-being. Like, those are the parts of beauty that I like really love and enjoy. And I try to like lean into and encourage other people to find joy in. And you know, it's like, I think we've been fed this line that like women are meant to age gracefully, but like, what does gracefully mean? Like, what, how do you define gracefully? Because I think it's like too little intervention and it's like you've let yourself go. Too much intervention and it's like you've become like a victim of beauty standards. So I think, again, it's about really defining what feels good to you. And for me, what feels good are the makeup practices that feel like adornment, not like, okay, I'm like, I stopped getting eyelash extensions because it was just like, one, I felt ugly without them, that's a real issue, right? Like when you start doing something so much that you're like, you see yourself without your eyelashes and you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't feel beautiful.
Who is
it's
she?
Like, who is she? But it totally, it was like giving me like facial dysmorphia in a way. Also, it takes forever. It's like an hour and a half. You're lying down. Your eyes are literally sealed shut. Exactly.
I get too bored.
And then a few fall out. You're looking crazy. You've got to go back, get them filled in. It's just like, I don't have time. Like I don't want to live this. I don't want to be a slave to my eyelash extension. So it stopped feeling good to me. With my nails, now I've invested in a bunch of press-ons. Shout out to Chill House. They make great press-ons.
They make the best press-ons. I love them. Yeah.
Shout out to Cindy Ramirez, founder of Chill House. I have found the things that feel like torturous to me and feel like they are not enjoyable. I've found like workarounds so that I can still show up how I want to show up, but not, you know, spend hours and hours and hours of my day doing it.
There are so many beauty and wellness tips out there. You know, they often overlap. from waking up and drinking hot water with lemon to face yoga to using certain sunblock plus highlighter plus lip tint plus, blush combo. I'm not going to touch on blush combo. I don't even want to get into the controversy around blush combos right
We
now.
could do an hour on blush.
The list goes
yeah.
on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
But some of it might be helpful, but a lot of it is noise. How do you suggest we cut through the beauty noise and find some routines and products that work with us? So, like most of us are not getting in the shower, standing underwater, getting out and doing nothing. There are products that we must use to not feel ashy or to not be smelly or to feel like our hair is moisturized. Like, how do we hone in on those things in a way that feels good for us?
Yes. So like one, it's like putting the phone down. Like I think the algorithm is not designed for your well-being. The algorithm is designed. Yeah, it's designed for engagement, right? I spent 5 years working at Instagram, so I know a little bit about how the algorithm is designed. It is optimized for engagement. So you are going to see the trends that get people to stop and stare and click and engage, not necessarily like the tried and true things. I think that when you are figuring out what you want to invest in, a routine that could work for you, you really have to hone in on like what's the problem that you actually want to solve. So do you want to have softer skin? Are you trying to clear breakouts? For skin-related concerns, I am a big fan of a dermatologist appointment. And this is a tip that I give to everyone. Bring your current routine, bring your products, your skincare products. Your dermatologist will not balk at this. In fact, they will probably love it. So I think a lot of people are going to Google, Reddit, ChatGPT, TikTok. Yes.
Lord.
In your next, and see a dermatologist once a year, but in your next dermatologist appointment, bring the products that you have and ask them to audit it and help you discern what you should be using, what you should maybe discontinue using. They may say like, okay, you're using this chemical exfoliant that's before your serum that also has mandelic acid in it, which is also another exfoliant, and actually you're damaging your skin barrier.
They're like medical professionals, right?
They're professionals, yes. Right. I also think consistency is going to win every single time. You have to stick with a product long enough to see, or a routine long enough to see if it's like making a material difference. I think people expect instant overnight results and they're like frustrated when like they've used something, for 2 weeks and they're not seeing a really big difference. There's skincare addiction is a subreddit that I love. There's 30 plus skincare. I think there's 45 plus or 50 plus skincare. There are great natural hair communities on Reddit where people are just like very openly and honestly exchanging tips and tricks, talking about the products that they love. And then last but not least, my favorite is just asking people what they love. And that's maybe why I love Naked Beauty so much, because I get to interview women about the products they love, the routines that they're using. Because I really do think like word of mouth is like the strongest way to discover new products and routines.
No, that is very, 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 very real. Like if you see someone in the street and they've got like, if you think their hair looks fat, be like, your hair looks beautiful. Like, if I may ask, where did you get it done? Just kind of stuff like that. Like asking people like we used to do, I feel like before.
Yes. And
we were like bombarded by the TikTok shop.
Yes, absolutely. And I find that people are generous and will tell you what, the fragrance they're wearing or where they got their hair braided. And I think that's just such an important, it's like we can't lose the recipes of just like actual human connection.
Oh my God. And that's actually, those tend to be the actual human connection. Those conversations, those exchanges, those tend to be the things that actually make beauty fun. A year or so ago, I was like making some videos for work and I just noticed that I was looking like way more orange than I ever thought possible. And I put my makeup on and I was like, and I was like still doing like 2005 makeup. I was like, I was over bronzed. I had the wrong color of everything. And then after I did that, my best friend came over and she was like, do my face
right.
the way that like she taught you to do your face. And it was like super fun. And she like learned stuff. It was like, helped me remember it. And it was something like what we would have done when we were in college, we did do. We were in college 20 years ago and it was so fun.
Yes, no, absolutely. I love that you took that class. And like, I think the continued self-education is also really fun. Like I love a good YouTube tutorial. It's like, it's you can never stop learning, evolving and growing.
Well, no, exactly, because like I said, I looked at my face one day and I was like, looks very 2009 in here. And I got to do something about that. But oh my gosh, Brooke, I am so glad that we had you for this conversation. It's so great to have you. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, this was so incredible. I love getting deep on beauty, so this was a real treat for me. Thank you so much, Brittany.
That was beauty expert Brooke Devard Ozaidinli, host of the Naked Beauty Podcast. And to all of you watching, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Make sure you come back to this feed for fresh video content every Tuesday. You can watch these episodes exclusively on Spotify, YouTube, and the NPR app.